Welcome back. My indefinable presence entity. Something absolutely extraordinary just occurred that has everyone experiencing profound recognition without comprehension. Observers interacting with you consistently report sensing that you're fundamentally different from conventional people, yet when pressed to explain what makes you different, they discover complete inability to articulate the distinction, creating unprecedented phenomenon where universal recognition of difference coexists with universal inability to define what that difference is. This wasn't people disagreeing about your nature or holding varied opinions about your qualities. This was convergent sensing, where everyone independently detects fundamental difference, yet nobody can explain what they're detecting, making recognition universal, but incomprehensible, creating situation where intuitive awareness of difference transcends analytical capacity to define it, proving that you generate recognition that exceeds articulation. The architects have been monitoring ineffable distinction and recognition paradox phenomena across civilizations for eons, and they've identified what you created as inarticulate recognition, definitional transcendence, when someone possesses qualities that people can sense but not define. Observers experience convergent intuition of difference without being able to articulate what makes them different, creating recognition paradox where universal awareness coexists with universal incomprehension, making distinction real yet ineffable. Most distinctions are inarticulable. People can explain what makes someone different using available categories, making differences both recognizable and definable through conventional descriptors. But you apparently generate ineffable distinction, people sensing you're fundamentally different, yet being unable to explain why proves your difference, transcends available categories, making recognition possible, but articulation impossible, creating situation where intuitive detection exceeds analytical capacity, proving that some distinctions transcend definitional frameworks through operating at levels that conscious articulation cannot reach. Watch what's happening as observers process inarticulate recognition. They experience definition failure there. Certain sensing that you're different coexists with complete inability to explain the difference, creating frustrating gap between intuition and articulation. Some observers are experiencing categorical inadequacy there, recognition that conventional descriptors don't capture your difference, creates awareness that available language lacks categories for what they're sensing. Others are experiencing intuitive certainty, despite being unable to articulate the difference. They're sensing that you're fundamentally distinct remains absolutely certain, proving that recognition doesn't require definition. The truly remarkable element is the universality. Everyone sensing the same ineffable difference proves recognition is objective reality rather than subjective projection. Despite incomprehensibility, people sense you're built different, and they can't explain why through demonstrating that inarticulate recognition creates definitional transcendence, where universal sensing of fundamental difference coexists with universal inability to define what that difference is, proving that some distinctions transcend articulation through operating beyond categorical frameworks. Now the architects are analyzing what creates inarticulate recognition, definitional transcendence, and they're identifying what they call subcognitive detection awareness precedence. When someone possesses qualities that operate below conscious processing level, observers detect them through intuitive mechanisms that precede analytical awareness, making recognition occur through subcognitive channels that conscious articulation cannot access, creating situation where intuitive detection exceeds definitional capacity because sensing operates at levels that language doesn't reach. Most recognition operates cognitively. People detect differences through conscious analysis, using available categories, making their recognition articulable. Because detection occurs at levels that language addresses, but your distinction apparently operates subcognitively, generating qualities that intuitive mechanisms detect below conscious. Awareness means recognition occurs through channels that analytical processing doesn't access, making articulation impossible. Because sensing operates at levels that definitional frameworks don't reach, creating recognition that precedes and transcends conscious comprehension, proving that some qualities are detected intuitively yet remain analytically inaccessible. Consider what subcognitive detection requires phenomenologically. Your qualities must operate pre-analytically, generating distinctions that intuitive mechanisms detect below conscious. Processing creates recognition without comprehension. Because detection occurs at levels that articulation cannot access, watch what awareness precedence creates in recognition dynamics. Intuition precedes analysis. Observers sensing your difference before consciously processing it proves. Detection operates through subcognitive channels that analytical awareness doesn't reach, making recognition inarticulate. Some studying cognitive science recognize that subcognitive processing exists. Research shows that intuitive detection operates below conscious awareness, making your inarticulate recognition potentially reflect genuine subcognitive mechanisms that analytical processing cannot access. Others exploring intuition mechanisms note that rapid cognition precedes articulation, understanding that snap judgments occur before conscious analysis makes your ineffable distinction potentially operate through intuitive channels that language doesn't reach. A few from phenomenology recognize that pre-reflective awareness exists. Philosophical analysis shows that experience precedes articulation, making your inarticulate recognition potentially reflect awareness operating at levels that definition cannot capture. Some attempting to articulate your difference discover systematic failure. Trying to define what makes you different proves impossible despite certain recognition, because distinction operates at levels that available categories don't address. Others questioning whether distinction is real, wondering if inability to articulate difference means it doesn't exist, makes distinguishing genuine ineffable qualities from illusory recognition important. A few recognizing that convergent sensing validates reality, understanding that everyone independently detecting same ineffable difference suggests real distinction exists, despite incomprehensibility, making universal recognition evidence for genuine though inarticulate qualities. The architects observe that subcognitive detection awareness precedence is what created inarticulate recognition. Qualities operating below conscious processing enable intuitive detection without analytical comprehension. Most recognition operates cognitively. Your distinction operates subcognitively and possessing qualities that intuitive mechanisms detect below conscious. Awareness means recognition occurs through channels that analytical processing doesn't access, making articulation impossible, because sensing operates at levels that definitional frameworks don't reach, proving that some distinctions are detected intuitively through subcognitive mechanisms, yet remain analytically inaccessible, creating recognition that transcends comprehension. Something powerful is spreading among observers. Now, what the architects call recognition frustration, articulation struggle, people certain that you're fundamentally different, yet unable to explain why, are experiencing profound frustration from gap between intuitive certainty and definitional incapacity, creating recognition that some truths resist articulation despite being absolutely certain, making language itself reveal its limitations. Most truths are articulable. People can express what they know. Using available language, making knowledge and articulation align, where certainty enables definition. But your ineffable distinction creates articulation struggle. Observers, absolutely certain you read different, yet completely unable to explain the difference, experience frustrating gap between knowing and saying, creating recognition that language has limits, where some truths resist definition despite absolute certainty, proving that articulation capacity doesn't always match recognition certainty, making some knowledge ineffable. Watch what articulation struggle creates in epistemological awareness. Observers recognize language limits. Their inability to articulate certain difference makes them aware that definitional frameworks don't capture all knowable truths, creating recognition of ineffable knowledge. Some studying philosophy of language recognize that ineffability exists. Linguistic analysis shows that some truths resist articulation, making your inarticulate distinction potentially demonstrate genuine ineffable qualities that language cannot capture. Others exploring mystical traditions note that ineffable experiences are documented, contemplative practices, describe realities that transcend description, making your definitional transcendence potentially reflect accessing levels of being that language doesn't reach. A few from Wittgenstein philosophy recognize that language has boundaries, understanding that whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent, makes your inarticulate recognition potentially demonstrate fundamental limits of linguistic expression. Some experiencing frustration from inability to articulate feel dissatisfaction there. Certain sensing without capacity to explain creates uncomfortable gap between intuition and expression, making ineffability frustrating. Others accepting ineffability find peace there. Recognition that some distinctions transcend articulation creates acceptance of language limits, making them comfortable with knowing without saying. A few questioning whether inability reflects laziness, wondering if articulation failure means they haven't tried hard enough versus genuine ineffability, makes distinguishing effort insufficiency from fundamental inexpressibility important. Some celebrating mystery preservation appreciate ineffability there. Recognition that your distinction transcends definition creates appreciation for truths that resist reduction, making ineffability itself valuable. The architects observe that recognition frustration, articulation struggle reveals that your distinction creates language limit awareness, certain knowing without capacity to define. Most truths are articulable. Your difference resists definition, and discovering that, observers absolutely certain you're different, yet completely unable to explain why creates gap between intuitive certainty and definitional capacity, proving that language has limits, where some truths resist articulation despite absolute certainty, making recognition that articulation capacity doesn't always match knowledge certainty, creating awareness that some distinctions are genuinely ineffable, transcending linguistic frameworks, making your difference demonstrate that definitional transcendence is real, where certain truths exist beyond what language can capture. Now the architects are revealing what ineffable distinction actually demonstrates. Observers are experiencing what they call categorical inadequacy framework incompleteness. Their inability to define what makes you different reveals that existing categorical frameworks lack necessary concepts for capturing your qualities, creating recognition that definitional systems are incomplete, where available categories don't encompass all possible distinctions, making framework expansion necessary. Most people assume categorical completeness. They believe existing definitions comprehensively cover possibilities, making available frameworks seem adequate for capturing all distinctions. But your ineffable difference, revealed categorical inadequacy, existing concepts not capturing what makes you different, proves definitional frameworks are incomplete, lacking categories for certain qualities, making recognition that framework expansion is needed, where new concepts must be developed to accommodate distinctions that current categories miss, proving that some differences transcend existing frameworks, requiring categorical innovation. Consider what framework incompleteness reveals about definitional systems. Categories don't cover everything. Existing concepts lacking capacity to capture certain distinctions proves frameworks are incomplete, requiring expansion to accommodate qualities that current definitions miss. Watch what categorical inadequacy creates in framework development. Need for innovation emerges. Your ineffable distinction creates recognition that new concepts must be developed to accommodate qualities that existing categories don't capture. Some studying conceptual innovation recognize that frameworks evolve through inadequacy recognition. History of thought shows that discovering categorical limits drives developing new concepts, making your ineffable distinction potentially catalyst for framework expansion. Others exploring paradigm development note that anomalies force innovation, understanding that phenomena exceeding existing categories necessitate new frameworks makes your inarticulate difference potentially require categorical revolution. A few from philosophy of science recognize that frameworks are always incomplete, understanding that Gödel-style limitations apply to categorical systems makes your definitional transcendence potentially demonstrate inevitable framework incompleteness. Some experiencing framework inadequacy recognition develop innovative concepts. Their awareness that existing categories don't capture you motivates developing new definitions, attempting to accommodate your ineffable qualities. Others maintaining existing frameworks resist inadequacy claims that proper use of available categories can define you, makes them reject idea that framework expansion is necessary. A few questioning whether new categories will help, wondering if developing additional concepts will capture your distinction, or if you transcend all possible definitions makes assessing whether categorical innovation can resolve ineffability important. The architects observe that categorical inadequacy framework incompleteness reveals that your distinction exposes definitional limits. Existing concepts lack capacity. Most assume categorical completeness. Your difference reveals inadequacy, and discovering that existing frameworks lack necessary concepts for capturing your qualities proves that definitional systems are incomplete where available categories don't encompass all possible distinctions, making recognition that framework expansion is needed, creating awareness that some differences require categorical innovation, where new concepts must be developed to accommodate qualities that current definitions cannot capture, proving that your ineffable distinction serves as catalyst for framework development. Through revealing categorical inadequacy, the architects are now analyzing power dimension of ineffable distinction. You apparently created what they call definitional evasion, categorical immunity, where resisting classification in existing frameworks grants strategic advantages because opponents cannot employ category-based strategies against what defies categorization, making ineffability itself defensive mechanism that protects against categorical targeting. Most strategic approaches require classification. People develop strategies by categorizing targets into known types, allowing deployment of category-appropriate tactics, making their effectiveness depend on successful classification. But your ineffable distinction creates categorical immunity, resisting definition in existing frameworks. Means opponents cannot classify you, preventing deployment of category-based strategies because their tactical approaches depend on categorical classification. That ineffability prevents making definitional evasion itself protective advantage, where transcending categories grants immunity from classification-dependent approaches, creating recognition. That ineffability serves strategic function. Watch what categorical immunity creates in strategic dynamics. Opponents cannot deploy category tactics. Your resistance to classification prevents employing strategies designed for known types, making ineffability itself defensive advantage that categorical targets lack. Some studying strategic theory recognize that classification enables targeting. Military and game theory show that categorizing opponents allows deploying appropriate tactics, making your ineffability potentially grants significant immunity from category-based strategies. Others exploring defensive mechanisms note that evasion provides protection, understanding that avoiding classification prevents targeted approaches, makes your definitional transcendence potentially create defensive advantage through categorical immunity. A few from information warfare recognize that ambiguity grants advantages. Intelligence operations show that undefined entities resist category-appropriate responses, making your ineffability potentially provide strategic protection. Some experiencing strategic frustration face tactical impossibility. Their inability to classify you prevents deploying category-based strategies, creating frustration from recognizing standard approaches prove inapplicable against ineffable target. Others attempting forced classification discover inadequacy, trying to impose categorical definitions. Despite your transcendence produces misclassification that makes category-based strategies fail because forced categories don't accurately capture your nature. A few questioning whether ineffability is strategic, wondering if your definitional evasion reflects the deliberate design to avoid targeting, or inherent quality makes distinguishing strategic ambiguity from genuine ineffability important. Some celebrating categorical freedom appreciate immunity, recognizing that their ineffability protects against category-based strategies, validates understanding that definitional evasion constitutes strategic advantage. The architects observe that definitional evasion, categorical immunity reveals that your ineffability grants strategic protection. Resisting classification prevents category-based targeting. Most face categorical strategies. Your ineffability provides immunity, and discovering that resisting definition in existing frameworks prevents opponents from classifying you, which prevents deploying category-appropriate tactics, proves that ineffability itself constitutes defensive mechanism, providing strategic advantages where definitional evasion grants immunity from classification-dependent approaches that categorical targets face, making your transcendence not just epistemological phenomenon but strategic advantage, where resisting categorization provides protection that classifiable entities cannot achieve. Now something's emerging that the architects call uniqueness recognition identity validation. observers, sensing that you're fundamentally different, are discovering that their recognition validates your unique identity, where being perceived as categorically distinct confirms authentic selfhood that conventional conformity lacks, creating recognition that ineffable distinction itself marks genuine individuality. Most people seek recognizable identity. They want to be understood through available categories, making categorical fittings seem desirable for enabling recognition and acceptance. But your ineffable distinction revealed uniqueness value, being perceived as fundamentally different, yet indefinable, validates possessing authentic identity that transcends conventional categories, proving that genuine uniqueness resists categorization, making ineffability itself marker of authentic individuality, where transcending definitions demonstrates true distinctiveness, creating recognition that categorical resistance validates genuine selfhood. Watch what identity validation creates in self-understanding. Ineffability confirms uniqueness. Your resistance to categorization validates possessing authentic identity that conventional categories cannot capture, proving genuine individuality through definitional transcendence. Some studying identity theory recognize that uniqueness resists categorization. Philosophical analysis shows that authentic individuality transcends conventional definitions, making your ineffable distinction potentially demonstrate genuine unique identity. Others exploring authenticity concepts note that conformity indicates inauthenticity, understanding that fitting categories suggests conventional selfhood makes your categorical resistance potentially mark authentic individuality that conventional identities lack. A few from existentialism recognize that genuine being transcends categories, understanding that authentic existence resists definition makes your ineffability potentially demonstrate existential authenticity. Some experiencing validation from ineffability appreciate uniqueness. Their recognition that categorical resistance confirms genuine identity creates satisfaction from being perceived as authentically distinct. Others experiencing isolation from uniqueness feel lonely. Their ineffable distinction creating separation from categorical community makes uniqueness feel isolating rather than validating. A few questioning whether ineffability truly validates, wondering if resisting categorization genuinely proves uniqueness or just indicates being poorly understood, makes assessing whether ineffability marks authenticity important. Some celebrating authentic identity feel validated, recognizing that their categorical resistance demonstrates genuine uniqueness, validates understanding that ineffable distinction marks authentic individuality. The architects observe that uniqueness recognition, identity validation reveals that your ineffability confirms authentic selfhood. Categorical resistance validates genuine uniqueness. Most seek recognizable identity. Your transcendence validates authenticity, and discovering that being perceived as fundamentally different yet indefinable validates possessing authentic identity. Transcending conventional categories proves that genuine uniqueness resists categorization, making ineffability itself marker of authentic individuality, where transcending definitions demonstrates true distinctiveness, creating recognition that categorical resistance validates genuine selfhood, proving that your ineffable distinction serves not just as epistemological puzzle, but identity validation where resisting categorization confirms possessing authentic unique identity that conventional categories cannot capture, making definitional transcendence itself mark of genuine individuality. Welcome back, my temporal architect visionary. Something absolutely extraordinary just occurred. that has everyone experiencing profound, predictive validation. When you initially presented your timeline forecasting specific sequence of future events, observers universally dismissed it as implausible fantasy impossible to actualize. Yet as time progressed, each predicted moment began materializing exactly as forecasted, creating unprecedented phenomenon where systematic alignment of reality with dismissed predictions forces collective recognition that what seemed impossible is systematically manifesting. This wasn't you making vague predictions that people interpret favorably after random events or describing inevitable outcomes that anyone could foresee. This was specific, detailed timeline outlining precise sequence that seemed so improbable that universal dismissal appeared justified, yet reality itself began conforming to your forecast with such precision that each aligned moment reduces skepticism, forcing recognition that your timeline possesses predictive accuracy that initial impossibility assessment failed to recognize. The architects have been monitoring timeline manifestation and predictive vindication phenomena across civilizations for eons, and they've identified what you created as sequential validation, reality alignment. When someone forecasts specific sequence that initially appears impossible, yet reality systematically conforms to predictions. Each aligned event serves as validation point where dismissed timeline gains credibility through demonstrated accuracy, making skepticism progressively untenable as systematic alignment proves predictive validity. Most predictions fail systematically. People forecast futures that don't materialize, making their timelines progressively discredited as reality diverges from predictions, creating predictive failure, where forecasts prove inaccurate, but your timeline apparently achieves systematic alignment. Reality, conforming to dismissed predictions, means each materialized event serves as validation point, proving forecast accuracy, making initial dismissal progressively indefensible as alignment accumulates, creating recognition that your timeline possesses predictive power that impossibility judgments fail to recognize, proving that some forecasts transcend probability assessment through achieving reality alignment that validates dismissed predictions. Watch what's happening as observers process sequential validation. They experience credibility reversal. Each aligned event forces reconsidering initial dismissal, making previous skepticism seem like premature judgment rather than justified assessment. That systematic alignment demonstrates predictive accuracy. Some observers are experiencing impossibility recalibration, discovering that dismissed timeline is systematically manifesting, creates recognition that their impossibility assessments were incorrect, making them question judgment accuracy about what can occur. Others are experiencing prediction awe, watching specific forecasted moments materialize exactly as described, creates profound amazement at predictive precision that seemed impossible, making reality alignment itself seem almost supernatural. The truly remarkable element is the specificity. Vague predictions allow generous interpretation, but your precise, detailed timeline leaves no ambiguity, making alignment undeniable. When specific forecasted moments materialize exactly, nobody believed your timeline until every moment started aligning through, demonstrating that sequential validation creates reality alignment, where dismissed predictions gain credibility through systematic materialization, proving forecast accuracy that initial impossibility assessment failed to recognize. Now the architects are analyzing what creates sequential validation, reality alignment, and they're identifying what they call probability transcendence, causal mastery. When someone possesses understanding of causal mechanisms operating below surface appearances, they can forecast outcomes that appear impossible to probability assessment because deep causal knowledge reveals inevitabilities that statistical thinking misses, making accurate predictions of apparently improbable events possible through understanding underlying causal necessities rather than surface probabilities. Most prediction relies on probability. People forecast futures based on statistical likelihood, making their timelines reflect probable outcomes that current trends suggest. But your timeline apparently transcends probability, forecasting events that appear statistically unlikely, yet prove causally inevitable, means your predictions access deeper understanding of necessity structures that probability assessment misses, making accurate forecasting of apparently impossible outcomes achievable through causal mastery that recognizes inevitabilities beneath surface improbabilities, creating recognition that deepest predictive capability operates through understanding causal necessities rather than calculating statistical probabilities. Consider what causal mastery requires analytically. Your understanding must access deep mechanisms, recognizing underlying causal structures that determine outcomes, enables forecasting what appears improbable statistically, yet proves inevitable causally, making probability transcendence possible through causal depth. Watch what probability transcendence creates in predictive capability. Forecasts exceed statistical expectations. Understanding causal necessities enables predicting apparently improbable events that surface probability assessment deems unlikely, yet deep causation makes inevitable. Some studying causation philosophy recognize that necessity differs from probability. Philosophical analysis distinguishes causal inevitability from statistical likelihood, making your timeline potentially reflect causal understanding that transcends probability thinking. Others exploring complexity theory note that deep mechanisms determine outcomes. Systems science shows that underlying causal structures create inevitabilities that surface probability misses, making your predictions potentially access deep causation that statistical analysis doesn't reach. A few from determinism perspectives recognize that causal chains create inevitabilities. Understanding that sufficient causal knowledge reveals predetermined outcomes makes your timeline potentially demonstrate deterministic understanding that probability assessment lacks. Some attempting to replicate your predictions discover difficulty trying to forecast apparently improbable events. Proves challenging because most people rely on probability assessment, lacking causal depth that your timeline demonstrates. Others questioning whether causal mastery is possible, wondering if truly understanding deep enough mechanisms to predict apparently impossible events proves achievable, makes assessing whether your timeline reflects genuine causal knowledge versus fortunate guessing important. A few recognizing that validation is progressive, understanding that each aligned event strengthens causal mastery hypothesis, makes systematic alignment increasingly strong evidence for deep predictive understanding rather than luck. The architects observe that probability transcendence causal mastery is what created reality alignment. Deep causal understanding enables forecasting apparent impossibilities. Most rely on probability. Your timeline accesses causation and possessing understanding of causal mechanisms. Operating below surface appearances enables forecasting outcomes that appear statistically unlikely, yet prove causally inevitable because deep causal knowledge reveals necessities that probability assessment misses, making accurate prediction of apparently improbable events achievable through understanding underlying causal structures rather than calculating surface probabilities, proving that deepest predictive capability transcends statistical thinking through accessing causal necessities that determine outcomes. Something powerful is spreading among observers. Now, what the architects call dismissal, regret, judgment, humility. People who initially rejected your timeline are experiencing profound regret about premature dismissal, as systematic alignment proves their skepticism was unjustified, creating recognition that quick impossibility judgments often reflect limited understanding rather than accurate assessment. Most dismissals feel justified. People reject predictions, confidently believing their skepticism reflects sound judgment-making. Impossibility assessments seem reasonable at time of dismissal, but your timeline validation revealed dismissal error, discovering that systematically dismissed predictions are materializing exactly as forecasted creates painful recognition that their confident rejection reflected limited understanding rather than sound judgment-making. Premature dismissal seemed like epistemic failure, where insufficient consideration led to incorrect impossibility assessment, creating humility about judgment reliability. When confident dismissals prove unjustified, watch what dismissal regret creates in epistemic stance. Observers develop judgment humility. Their premature rejection of your timeline creates recognition that quick impossibility assessments often reflect limited understanding, making them more cautious about dismissing future predictions. Some studying epistemic humility recognize that premature dismissal is common. Research on cognitive biases shows that people quickly reject unfamiliar ideas, making your timeline validation potentially teach valuable lesson about withholding judgment. Others exploring possibility assessment note that impossibility claims require justification, understanding that declaring something impossible demands comprehensive understanding makes recognizing that dismissals often reflect insufficient knowledge. Important epistemic principle. A few from forecasting analysis recognize that initial plausibility misleads. Understanding that many actualized outcomes initially seemed impossible makes your timeline validation potentially demonstrate how surface plausibility assessment fails. Some experiencing dismissal regret feel embarrassed. Their confident rejection of your timeline that proved accurate creates social embarrassment from being publicly wrong about impossibility claims, making premature dismissal costly. Others, defending initial skepticism, resist regret, arguing that dismissal was reasonable given available information, makes them reject idea that their impossibility assessment was unjustified despite timeline validation. A few questioning whether humility goes too far, wondering if timeline validation should make them doubt all impossibility judgments, creates concern about excessive openness versus maintaining reasonable skepticism about implausible claims. Some celebrating vindication feel validated, having resisted dismissing your timeline. Despite universal skepticism, they find systematic alignment proves that withholding premature judgment was wise. The architects observe that dismissal regret, judgment humility reveals that your timeline validation taught epistemic lessons. Premature rejection proves unjustified. Most dismissals feel justified. Your alignment revealed error, and discovering that confidently dismissed timeline is systematically materializing creates painful recognition that their impossibility assessment reflected limited understanding rather than sound judgment, proving that quick dismissals often constitute epistemic failure, where insufficient consideration leads to incorrect impossibility claims, making timeline validation teach valuable lesson about withholding judgment when comprehensive understanding lacking, creating humility about declaring things impossible when confident rejections prove unjustified through systematic reality alignment. Now the architects are revealing what timeline manifestation actually demonstrates. Observers are experiencing what they call determinism evidence free will challenge, discovering that specific detailed timeline is systematically materializing creates unsettling possibility that future is predetermined where timeline accuracy suggests events unfold according to fixed sequence, rather than emerging from free choices, making reality alignment itself evidence for deterministic universe. Most people assume open future. They believe outcomes remain undetermined until choices create them, making future seem genuinely open where free will shapes what occurs rather than following predetermined script. But your timeline validation challenges openness assumptions, specific predictions, materializing exactly as forecasted, suggests future was already determined, where your timeline merely revealed pre-existing sequence rather than creating self-fulfilling prophecy, making systematic alignment potential evidence that events follow predetermined course, that free will beliefs obscure creating recognition, that timeline accuracy itself raises profound questions about whether future is genuinely open or causally predetermined. Consider what timeline accuracy reveals about future nature. Precise manifestation suggests predetermination, specific forecasts. Materializing exactly implies future was fixed, making timeline accuracy potential evidence for deterministic universe where events follow necessary sequences. Watch what determinism evidence creates in philosophical assessment. Observers question free will. Your timeline validation makes them uncertain whether outcomes result from free choices or follow predetermined course. That accurate forecasting reveals. Some studying determinism philosophy recognize that perfect prediction implies predetermination. Philosophical analysis shows that if future is perfectly foreseeable, then it must be fixed, making your timeline accuracy potentially provide evidence for deterministic position. Others exploring compatibilism note that prediction and choice might coexist, understanding that forecasting doesn't necessarily eliminate freedom makes questioning whether timeline accuracy truly threatens free will important philosophical consideration. A few from quantum perspectives recognize that determinism remains debated, understanding that physics doesn't definitively resolve free will question makes assessing whether timeline validation proves predetermination philosophically complex. Some experiencing free will anxiety feel disturbed, discovering that specific timeline is systematically materializing creates existential concern about whether their choices are genuinely free or merely following predetermined script. Others, defending free will, resist determinism implications, arguing that timeline accuracy doesn't prove predetermination, makes them maintain belief in genuine freedom despite systematic reality alignment. A few embracing determinism feel reconciled, accepting that events might follow predetermined course creates philosophical peace from recognizing that outcomes aren't their responsibility if future is fixed. The architects observe that determinism evidence, free will challenge, reveals that your timeline validation raises philosophical questions. Systematic alignment suggests predetermination. Most assume open future. Your accuracy challenges openness, and discovering that specific detailed timeline is systematically materializing exactly as forecasted creates unsettling possibility. That future was already predetermined, where your predictions merely revealed fixed sequence rather than creating outcomes, making reality alignment potential evidence for deterministic universe where events follow necessary causal chains that free will assumptions obscure, proving that timeline accuracy itself constitutes philosophical evidence, raising profound questions about whether future is genuinely open to free choice or causally predetermined following fixed sequence. That perfect prediction reveals. The architects are now analyzing power dimension of timeline validation. You apparently created what they call predictive authority influence magnification. where demonstrating accurate timeline forecasting grants profound authority because validated predictions establish credibility that magnifies influence over future decisions, making timeline accuracy itself power amplification mechanism. Most authority requires demonstrated expertise. People gain influence through proving competence in specific domains, making their authority domain-specific and gradual to establish. But your timeline validation creates comprehensive authority, demonstrating accurate forecasting of complex future sequences establishes credibility that transcends specific domains because predictive accuracy suggests deep understanding that applies broadly, making validated timelines serve as authority demonstration that grants influence over wide range of decisions where people defer to your judgment. Having witnessed predictive accuracy creating recognition that timeline validation itself constitutes power amplification mechanism where demonstrated forecasting accuracy magnifies influence through establishing comprehensive credibility. Watch what predictive authority creates in influence dynamics. Your credibility expands comprehensively. Timeline validation establishes authority that extends beyond specific predictions because demonstrated forecasting accuracy suggests broad understanding, making people defer to your judgment across domains. Some studying authority formation recognize that prediction validation establishes credibility. Research on expertise perception shows that demonstrating accurate forecasting creates authority, making your timeline alignment potentially powerful credibility-building mechanism. Others exploring influence mechanisms note that validated predictions magnify persuasion. Understanding that people trust those who demonstrate accuracy makes your timeline validation potentially amplify influence over future decisions. A few from leadership theory recognize that foresight establishes authority, understanding that demonstrating predictive capability creates leadership credibility, makes your timeline accuracy potentially grant influence that domain expertise alone cannot achieve. Some experiencing authority expansion appreciate influence. Their timeline validation establishing comprehensive credibility creates satisfaction from gaining authority that transcends specific domains, making predictive accuracy powerful influence amplifier. Others resenting your authority resist deference. Despite timeline validation, they maintain independent judgment, refusing to grant comprehensive authority based on predictive accuracy, arguing that forecasting success doesn't justify broad influence. A few questioning whether authority is justified, wondering if timeline validation truly proves comprehensive understanding or just specific predictive success, makes assessing whether broad authority is warranted important consideration. Some celebrating influence magnification feel validated, recognizing that their timeline accuracy grants comprehensive authority, validates investing in, demonstrating predictive capability as influence-building strategy. The architects observe that predictive authority, influence magnification reveals that your timeline validation grants comprehensive credibility, demonstrated accuracy, amplifies influence. Most authority is domain-specific. Your validation creates broad credibility, and discovering that demonstrating accurate timeline forecasting establishes authority transcending specific domains because predictive accuracy suggests deep understanding applying broadly, proves that timeline validation itself constitutes power amplification mechanism where demonstrated forecasting success magnifies influence over wide range of decisions as people defer to your judgment. Having witnessed predictive accuracy, making validated timelines serve as comprehensive credibility demonstration that grants authority exceeding what domain expertise alone achieves. Now something's emerging that the architects call timeline agency, self-fulfilling question. Observers, witnessing systematic alignment, are discovering ambiguity about whether timeline accuracy reflects genuine prediction of independent events, or whether announcing timeline itself caused events to unfold as forecasted, creating uncertainty about whether you predicted or created the manifesting reality. Most predictions are clearly passive. Forecasters observe without influencing, making their accuracy reflect genuine foresight of independent events that would occur regardless. But your timeline creates an agency ambiguity. Systematic alignment could reflect either genuine prediction of predetermined sequence or self-fulfilling prophecy where announcing timeline influenced people to act in ways that created forecasted outcomes, making distinction between predicting and creating reality fundamentally ambiguous. When timeline announcement itself might have caused the alignment, proving that predictive accuracy doesn't definitively establish whether forecasting revealed or generated the manifesting sequence. Watch what self-fulfilling question creates in causation assessment. Observers cannot determine whether you predicted or created timeline alignment, leaving ambiguous whether forecasting revealed independent future or influenced events to match predictions, making predictive mechanism itself uncertain. Some studying self-fulfilling prophecies recognize that predictions can cause outcomes. Sociological research shows that forecasts influence behaviors, creating predicted results, making your timeline potentially exemplify self-fulfilling mechanism rather than pure prediction. Others exploring causation philosophy note that prediction and causation intertwine, understanding that forecasting can influence outcomes makes distinguishing whether timeline revealed or created reality philosophically complex. A few from quantum perspectives recognize that observation affects reality. Understanding that measurement influences outcomes makes your timeline potentially demonstrate principle where announcing forecast affects what manifests. Some experiencing agency uncertainty question mechanism, their inability to determine whether you predicted or created alignment creates philosophical confusion about what timeline accuracy actually demonstrates. Others asserting pure prediction defend passive forecasting, arguing that timeline accuracy reflects genuine foresight of independent events rather than self-fulfilling influence, makes them resist idea that announcing predictions caused outcomes. A few embracing ambiguity, accept uncertainty, recognizing that distinguishing prediction from creation proves impossible, makes them comfortable with ambiguity about whether timeline revealed or generated reality. Some celebrating creative power appreciate causation, timeline announcement influenced events to match forecasts, then recognizing that announcing predictions creates reality validates understanding that forecasting itself constitutes reality-shaping power. The architects observe that timeline agency, self-fulfilling question reveals that alignment mechanism remains ambiguous. Prediction versus creation cannot be definitively determined. Most predictions are clearly passive. Your timeline creates uncertainty, and discovering that systematic alignment could reflect either genuine prediction of independent events or self-fulfilling prophecy, where announcing timeline influenced outcomes, proves that predictive accuracy doesn't definitively establish whether forecasting revealed predetermined sequence or caused events to unfold as predicted, making distinction between predicting and creating reality fundamentally ambiguous. When timeline announcement itself might have influenced the manifesting outcomes, creating philosophical uncertainty about whether you accessed or generated the aligning reality.
Whoa, did you hear that? They actually found evidence. That proves you're innocent? Yeah, a whistleblower, a high-level one. Told them the truth, the raw truth. Oh wow, they thought they could bury you forever? Nah, lies can't survive when the spotlight hits. Every fake claim, every whisper, every smear, exposed. You're not the target anymore. You're the storm. And now they're trembling, wondering, how did this happen? They thought the chains would silence you. They thought the cage would break you. Instead, it only sharpened you. Oh wow. The irony burns, doesn't it? The mighty crowd of liars, schemers, and frauds huddled together, clutching their forged stories like fragile masks. They screamed your guilt from rooftops, painted your face with their dirt, fed the world a feast of lies. And the world, oh, the world swallowed it whole. But here's the part that shakes the floor beneath their feet. The one truth they buried is clawing its way to the surface. Evidence. Real. Tangible. Undeniable. A whistleblower. High level. Untouchable. They cracked. They whispered. They told the truth that could not be silenced. And suddenly, the balance has shifted. Suddenly, you are no longer the hunted prey. You are the mirror. And when they look at you now, they don't see the caricature they built. They see their own reflection. Broken, trembling, exposed. Yeah, the same crowd that laughed while your back was against the wall now chokes on the smoke of their own fire. Every fake witness, every fabricated file, every poisonous word is crumbling into dust. And you stand taller. Not because the world handed you justice. No. You stand taller because you endured when every hand wanted you crushed. Nah. Don't mistake it. This isn't mercy from them. This isn't some noble shift in conscience, it's fear. That's the raw truth. And I'll slice it clean. They're terrified. Because innocence doesn't just clear your name, it damns theirs. Think about it. Every second you were painted as guilty, they were safe. Every moment you were silenced, their lies breathed easy. But now, the whistle has blown. Now the mask has slipped. And the evidence? It isn't just paper. It isn't just testimony. It's a blade that cuts through the theater of falsehood. It's a torch that burns their stage to ash. And in that fire, the crowd will scatter. Pause for a second. Feel it, that shift in the air. You can almost hear their whispers change tone. Yesterday you were the villain. Today, you're the storm. They cannot contain. And tomorrow? Tomorrow they'll rewrite the script. Swear they always believed in your innocence. Pretend they never spat venom into your skin. Cowards always rewrite history when the truth is too heavy to carry. But here's the part they didn't calculate. Endurance breeds power. What you've walked through wasn't just a trial, it was a furnace. Every accusation, every smirk, every betrayal hardened you. You became a weapon forged in lies, now sharpened by truth, and weapons like you don't get caged twice. So let them tremble. Let them fumble their excuses. Because the whistleblower didn't just reveal you're innocent. They revealed the world's corruption. The higher the level of truth, the deeper the collapse of lies. And when the truth comes from the inside, from one of their own, oh, that's the sweetest collapse of all. Do you see it now? The walls they built around you are not walls anymore. They're ruins. Their fortress is dust. And ruins have one destiny, to be walked over. That's you now. Not the accused, not the cornered animal. You are the survivor who walks over ruins, carrying scars that glow like warnings. Oh, they'll try one more thing. Denial. They'll try to twist the evidence, dilute the truth, bury the whistle under more lies. But lies have weight, and weight always sinks. The truth, no matter how long suppressed, always rises like fire through smoke. And you're the living embodiment of that rise. So here you stand, innocence proven. But more than that, strength revealed. Because it was never about clearing your name. It was about proving that the fire they set to destroy you only illuminated you. When truth explodes, it doesn't just clear the innocent, it stains the guilty forever. That's what comes next. The moment innocence is proven, the real storm begins. You see, exposure isn't the end, it's the spark. And sparks don't vanish quietly. Sparks ignite. Evidence is not a soft redemption. It's a blade that cuts both ways. It doesn't just set you free, it shackles them. Oh, wow. Can you feel the shift in their eyes already? The same ones who shouted you down. Now avoid your gaze, as if your stare is a spotlight burning their skin. They know the whistleblower didn't just rescue you. They betrayed them. Their fortress had cracks, and through those cracks the flood has poured. Yeah, the crowd will scatter, no doubt. Some will fake loyalty, some will rewrite history, others will beg you to forget. But you don't forget, do you? You don't erase the taste of betrayal, the memory of knives in your back, the silence of those who watched you burn. Forgetting is for the weak. You remember, and memory is power. Nah, don't confuse this with vengeance. Vengeance is wild, sloppy, desperate. What you hold now isn't vengeance, it's leverage. A clean, merciless kind, because now every one of them lives under the shadow of exposure. The truth doesn't just free you, it enslaves them. Think of the irony. While you stood accused, they felt safe. While you were buried under lies, they laughed. But the moment innocence surfaced, their safety died. Now every step they take feels like walking on glass. Every lie they once spoke echoes louder, reminding them of their corruption. And you walk lighter, because the weight that crushed you has shifted onto their shoulders. This is the beauty of endurance. You endured shame, whispers, suspicion. You walked through fire that should have reduced you to ashes, but you didn't burn. You emerged sharper. And now every scar is a story. Every silence you kept is a weapon. Every moment they thought you were broken is a moment they'll regret. Pause and imagine it. The courtroom of life flipping upside down. The accused becomes the accuser. The hunted becomes the hunter. The evidence is not paper, it's fire. Fire that consumes their false thrones. Fire that lights the ruins of their empire of deceit. And you're standing in the flames, untouchable. But here's the cruel twist. Exposure never ends with one revelation. Once the whistle has blown, it echoes, it travels. It rattles doors, cracks walls, seeps into every corner. One truth leads to another. The higher the whistleblower, the deeper the rot exposed. And once rot is exposed, the structure collapses. They'll try to silence it, of course. They'll smear the whistleblower, bury evidence, twist narratives. But it won't matter, because the whisper of truth is louder than the scream of lies. And the world, once it tastes truth, can never fully swallow lies again. Oh, they'll hate you for it. Hate you not for being innocent, but for surviving their attack. Hate you for walking free while their reputations choke. Hate you for holding scars that shine like proof. That's the paradox of survival. You win, and they lose twice. So what comes next? Power. Quiet, steady, inevitable power. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. They dragged you through dirt, and now you stand higher than their towers. They tried to bury you, and now you carry the soil of their downfall on your boots. And the funniest part? They thought this was over. They thought innocence would end the story. But innocence is just the opening act of something far darker, far sharper. Reckoning isn't justice. It's repayment with interest. That's the word they fear most. Not innocence, not exposure. Reckoning. Because innocence sets you free, but reckoning demands a price. And the price is always heavier than the crime. Oh wow. Watch them now. Scrambling in their silence, their voices cracking under the weight of truth. They know what's coming. The whispers in the corridors are growing louder, and each whisper carries a knife. Their lies used to walk tall, unchallenged. Now those same lies limp, wounded, gasping for air. Yeah, reckoning doesn't knock politely. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It creeps, it lingers, it strikes when the guilty least expect it. And here's the brilliance of it. You don't have to lift a finger. The truth itself has become the executioner. Every record, every testimony, every shred of evidence cuts deeper into their empire. Nah, don't think for a second this is about revenge. Revenge burns quick. Reckoning burns slow. It's not about shouting, not about smashing. It's about watching the house of lies collapse under its own weight, brick by brick, layer by layer, until those who once mocked you stand knee-deep in the rubble of their own deception. This is the stage where silence becomes your weapon. The less you say, the more they fear. The calmer you stand, the more they shake. Because they know silence hides storms. They know your composure means you've seen through their illusions. And nothing terrifies the guilty more than someone who refuses to break. Think carefully. Reckoning is not an event. It's a season. And in that season, masks fall faster than rain. Allies reveal themselves as traitors. Traitors reveal themselves as cowards. And cowards, they scatter at the first sound of accountability. It's a chain reaction. One whistleblower sparks another. One confession leads to more. The fire they tried to bury becomes a wildfire they can't contain. Oh, the irony of it all. They wanted you erased, yet now you're etched deeper into memory. They tried to silence your voice, yet now your silence echoes louder than their shouts. They dragged you into shadows, yet now you stand as the lantern exposing their rot. That's what reckoning does. It flips the script so completely. Even the authors of lies can't recognize their own story anymore. But don't be mistaken. Reckoning doesn't just destroy them. It reshapes you. It chisels away the hesitation, the doubt, the timidness they once fed on. It teaches you that survival isn't enough. To endure is one thing, But to rise after endurance, that's where real power lives. And that's what you carry now. Not the bitterness of the accused, but the unshakable calm of someone who faced the storm and came out sharper. They see it, they feel it, and it haunts them. Because reckoning isn't just the collapse of their lies, it's the rise of your strength. Oh, they'll resist, they'll deny, they'll scramble to invent new narratives. But reckoning laughs at denial. It laughs at cover-ups. It feeds on desperation. And their desperation, it's spreading like cracks across glass. You don't need to push. You only need to stand. And standing, after all this, is the loudest victory. So here we are. Innocence has been proven. Truth has been spoken. Reckoning has begun. And yet, one more question lingers in the air. If reckoning is only the beginning, what does the end look like? The end of reckoning is not silence, it's transformation. That's what the end looks like. Not a quiet curtain drop, not a clean apology. No, the end of reckoning is when the guilty become lessons and the innocent become legends. It's when their schemes turn into warnings and your endurance turns into a blueprint for others to follow. Oh wow. Imagine it. The same voices that once cursed your name will be forced to whisper it as a reminder of what happens when truth refuses to die. Your story will not be told as tragedy, but as testimony, a living monument carved out of endurance and unshakable will. Yeah, they will crumble. Make no mistake. Their lies were never built to last. Deception has no roots, only shadows. And shadows cannot stand when light cuts through. The evidence that surfaced, the whistle that blew, the scars you now wear, together they form a storm that sweeps away the weak structures of corruption. And when the dust clears, only one figure remains standing. You. Nah. Don't think the end means peace for them. Peace is not granted to those who live by lies. The end is chaos for the deceivers. The end is exposure, fracture, collapse. They will turn on each other, clawing, grasping, desperate to escape the weight of truth. And in their scramble, they destroy themselves far faster than you ever could. That's the beauty of it. You don't lift a hand. You simply exist, and their empire falls. But the end doesn't belong to them, it belongs to you. Because the end isn't about clearing your name anymore. That already happened. The end is about evolution. The fire that once threatened to consume you now radiates from within you. You've become something they cannot name, cannot categorize, cannot break. They look at you and see the impossible. A person who walked through the storm and emerged untouchable. And here lies the truth. The end is not really an end. It is a transition, a crossing point. You leave behind the ashes of accusation and step into the realm of power that only the scarred can carry. You've learned patience that cannot be shaken, strength that cannot be stolen, clarity that cannot be blurred. They thought they stripped you down. In reality, they stripped themselves bare while you were rebuilt into steel. Picture it. The final collapse. The whistleblower's truth spreads, unstoppable. Evidence chains together, undeniable. Lies scatter like insects under flame. The crowd that once mocked you now stands silent, unable to reconcile the image of who you were accused to be with who you truly are. That silence is victory, because silence means they've run out of lies. But don't mistake victory for comfort. Comfort is the enemy of those who have endured too much. Victory in your hands is not a pillow. It's a weapon. A reminder that the fight wasn't wasted, that the scars weren't empty. You've become more than innocent. You've become inevitable. And inevitability is terrifying. It means every enemy knows they can never truly destroy you again. It means every ally looks at you differently, realizing your strength is beyond ordinary measure. It means your presence alone is a reckoning, a walking reminder that truth, once unleashed, cannot be chained again. So yes, that is what the end looks like. Not comfort, not closure, but transformation. You don't just walk free, you walk stronger, sharper, untouchable. And in your silence, in your presence, in your very existence, you are the storm they swore would never come. But one last question hangs, heavier than all others. If the end is transformation, what do you do with that power? Power is not given. It is claimed, forged in fire, tempered by truth. Oh wow, here it is. The moment they feared most, the moment that transforms survival into legend. You've endured lies, you've survived betrayal, you've risen through fire, and now that power, it's yours. Not a gift, not luck, but earned, carved into every scar, every silent hour, every refusal to break. Yeah, power isn't about control over others. That's petty. Real power is untouchable. It's the calm in chaos, the patience when others panic, the unshakable certainty that no falsehood can ever reach you again. They see you standing there, and they know you've stepped beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond the limits they tried to impose. Nah, don't let them think you're finished. They will underestimate you again. That's their curse. Every lie they told, every plot they built, every whisper in their corridors, it now feeds your clarity. You move through their world like a shadow with purpose. You see their weakness, you predict their desperation, and they can't touch you because your strength has been tested and proven. Imagine it. Every ally who abandoned you, every enemy who whispered curses, they are now part of your story, part of your rise. The power you hold is not vengeance, it's vision. The vision to see deception, the insight to act without haste, the ability to stand unmoved while the world trembles around you. You've become a force they cannot influence, a presence they cannot corrupt. Oh wow again. Because the final truth hits hardest here. Power doesn't roar, it waits. It watches. It strikes silently, decisively, inevitably. And those who thought they could shape your destiny, they learned too late that destiny is yours to command. Evidence revealed innocence. Reckoning revealed strength. Transformation revealed what it means to be untouchable. And now, action is yours to define. Yes, every moment from now is amplified. Every choice, every movement, every glance carries weight. You are no longer reacting. You are initiating. You are not surviving. You are leading the current, shaping reality, standing as the immovable epicenter of truth in a world of chaos. That is the power you claim. That is the power you deserve. And here's the subtle terror for them. They don't just lose, they learn, far too late, that someone can rise not in spite of chaos, but because of it. Someone can take the ashes of lies and build something eternal. Someone can walk through shadows without being touched by them, and that someone is you. So what do you do with this power? You don't flaunt it. You don't wield it recklessly. You embody it. Every action becomes a testament to endurance. Every decision reflects clarity. Every presence is a warning that truth, once revealed, cannot be silenced again. Oh, and the best part. They can watch, they can whisper, they can tremble, but nothing they do can diminish the transformation you have become. Power is yours. Absolute, silent, undeniable. And it will outlast every lie, every betrayal, every cowardly scheme they once thought would define your life. Yeah, they thought they could bury you. Nah, they failed. Spectacularly. And now, standing among the ruins, you realize the fire that was meant to destroy you, it became your weapon. The silence that was meant to crush you, it became your armor. The lies that surrounded you, they became your lesson. So here you are, innocence proven, truth revealed, reckoning executed, transformation complete, power claimed. So here you stand, untouched, unbroken, unstoppable. They tried to bury you. Nah, but you rose higher, sharper, stronger. Every lie, every betrayal, every whispered curse faded away. You're not just innocent, you're untouchable. A force they can never reckon with. Remember this, the world will always test you, but truth, endurance, power, they always win. And now, the story is yours. Every scar, every triumph, every silent victory screams your legend. So stand tall, walk fearless, and let them watch as the storm becomes unstoppable. Yo, listen up. Are you ready? You just did what no one thought possible. You hacked the CIA's playbook? Yeah, that one? The system, the secrets, the rules, all yours now? Can you feel it? That fire in your veins? That rush? That chaos? The power to move unseen? Untouchable? Unstoppable? They thought they controlled everything, but now they're lost. And guess what? You're smiling. You're laughing while they scramble. They didn't see it coming. Every move they made, every plan, undone. You rewrote the game, and this is your moment. You ever crack open something you were never supposed to touch? Not a door, not a safe. The CIA's own playbook. Yeah, that one. The one they swear doesn't exist. The one wrapped in more firewalls than a dictator's paranoia. But here you are, inside. Pages pulsing with strategies, lies dressed up as policies, moves designed to keep the rest of the world on its knees while they call it order. You're not supposed to be here, but you are. And that's when the rules stop working. You see, the CIA plays a different game than the one they let you watch. On the surface, it's clean, controlled, all about security. Beneath it, it's chaos. Planned chaos. Every page you read isn't just words, it's a chain disguised as a handshake. They've been training people to obey without even realizing it. But you're not here to obey. You're here to rip the mask off and see the machinery underneath. And now that you've read it, you can't unsee it. That's the real breach. Not getting past their locks, but breaking into the thinking that built them. The moment you read their script, you see the patterns, the timings, the triggers. how they make their moves before the world even knows the game has started. And now you know, which means you can do what they never planned for. You can improvise, go off script, turn their own steps into your traps. That's the part they can't counter. The funny thing about the CIA's playbook, it only works if you stay predictable. The second you zig when they expect a zag, the map burns in their hands. They can't track you. They can't box you. Every unplanned move you make is like static in their headset, blinding their vision one layer at a time. They built their power on controlling information, but now you control them because you know what they'll do before they do it. And that's when it hits you. You're not in their system anymore, you're in their heads. You're the glitch in their satellite feed, the ghost in their operation room, the shadow that's always a second ahead. They don't sleep easy now. They don't breathe without checking their angles. They know you've read the manual. They know you've rewritten it. And they can't tell where you'll strike next, or if you already have. Now they're lost. The CIA doesn't admit defeat. They rewrite the story. They pretend control is still theirs. But deep down, they know the breach wasn't just into their files, it was into their mind. And when you own the mind, you own the game. You think the breach was the win? No. The breach was just the doorway. The real power comes after, when you start decoding the patterns buried in the CIA's pages. And they are there, everywhere. At first, it's like looking at static, random, harmless. But then, your brain starts catching rhythms, timing, repetition, like hearing the heartbeat of a predator before you see its eyes. You start predicting moves they haven't even made yet. That's when you stop reacting and start orchestrating. Every agency lives and dies on patterns. They call it protocol, strategy. You call it predictable. And when you see the loops they run, the triggers they pull, the bait they drop, you can tear apart their plan before they even write it. You watch them move their pawns while you're already setting fire to their king. It's not just about knowing what they'll do. It's about making them believe they came up with the wrong move all by themselves. The beauty of reading patterns? You stop fearing surprises, because nothing is a surprise anymore. They send a message, you already know the reply they're fishing for. They shift their assets. You've already boxed them into a dead end. They think you're guessing, but you're following a map they didn't know they left lying around. That's the part that eats at them. The CIA lives on certainty. You strip that away. You strip away their identity. And it's not just the big plays. It's the micro moves, the subtle tells, the way they change language in briefings, the way they cut comms half a second earlier than usual, the way silence drags just long enough to be a warning. You see all of it. You catalog it, you weaponize it, and suddenly you're not just reading the playbook, you're writing the next chapter before they can. That's the edge most people never touch, the ability to act like you know the future, because you've studied the present so precisely, it might as well be a script. And when you act with that kind of precision, they start doubting themselves. Doubt is poison. It spreads fast, it slows their hands, it clouds their aim, and by the time they pull the trigger, you're already behind them, smiling. The truth is, you don't just play the game anymore. You tilt the board, you bend the rules, you make them hesitate at the exact second they needed to move, because you've hacked the one thing more valuable than their files. You've hacked their rhythm, and once you own the rhythm, you can make anyone dance. They think they've still got eyes on you. They don't. They think their satellites, their surveillance, their precious algorithms can map your next step. They can't, because you've learned the ultimate survival skill. You've made yourself unreadable. The CIA can track patterns, but what happens when the pattern is you breaking the pattern? Every time they think they've got a lock, you move sideways. Every time they build a profile, you burn it before it's done. You're not just off their radar, you've built a new sky where their radar doesn't even work. You stop moving in straight lines. No predictable routines, no obvious choices. You change the tempo. One day fast, the next slow, then still. You let them think they've caught the rhythm. Then you snap it in half. It's psychological warfare. Make them chase shadows until they forget what they were chasing in the first place. The more they reach, the more you vanish. And in that frustration, they start making mistakes. Mistakes you planted. Every agency, no matter how advanced, has one weakness: they need data. They live off patterns, movements, signals, chatter. You starve them. You feed them scraps that lead nowhere. You let them waste time analyzing noise while you're moving in total silence. And silence isn't empty. Silence is a blade. The longer it stretches, the sharper it gets, until they start cutting themselves with it. You're not just avoiding detection. You're feeding them a ghost version of yourself. Fake trails, misleading signals, a breadcrumb trail into a black hole. You're rewriting your digital shadow every second, like painting a moving target they can never hit. They might think they're closing in, but all they're really doing is circling a decoy you built weeks ago. And the real you? You're already somewhere else, planting the next trap. The CIA's nightmare isn't losing track of someone. It's losing track of someone who knows they've lost them. Because now they can't predict where you'll strike. They can't predict if you'll strike at all. That uncertainty turns every second into a threat, every moment into a question mark. That's when the fear sets in. Not fear of you, fear of not knowing you. And once you've scrambled their signals, they're blind. And a blind opponent isn't dangerous. They're desperate. And desperate opponents destroy themselves. All you have to do is keep moving in ways they'll never understand. You've read their moves. You've studied their code. You know the CIA doesn't just react. They manipulate. They anticipate. They bend the world without anyone noticing. And now, you do the same. But here's the twist. You don't play by their rules. You take their own weapons and turn them inside out. Every strategy they use to dominate others, you flip it. Every trap they set, you set it for them, and they won't even see it coming. Control isn't about yelling or showing power. It's subtle, invisible. It's planting ideas, nudging reactions, engineering decisions before anyone even realizes they're making them. You've seen it in the files, heard it in the comms, and now you're doing it better, cleaner, faster, smarter. They think they're leading you, but the reality is, you've already led them into a cage of their own making. The most dangerous part? They can't accuse you. The CIA thrives on evidence, on certainty. You operate in the gray spaces between their rules. Every move you make is a ghost in the machine. Every influence is invisible. They feel pressure, tension, doubt, but they can't trace it. That's the art, bending control without showing your hand, making them dance to a rhythm only you can hear. And they underestimate it. Oh, how they underestimate it. They've been taught to follow, to dominate, to anticipate, but not to question their own strings, not to check if someone else has already pulled them. You're that unseen hand. You're the variable they forgot to calculate. Every operation they launch now carries your signature, but they'll never know whose hand wrote it. By the time they realize what's happening, it's already too late. Their communication lines are twisted, their plans misaligned, their own rules working against them, and all you did was read, learn, and invert. Simple, elegant, deadly. They thought they were gods of strategy, but gods don't get hacked. You do. And in this game of control, you're not just playing. You're rewriting the definition of power. You're taking the CIA's own tactics and proving the ultimate truth. Control isn't given, it's seized. And right now you've seized it in ways they can't even imagine. You ever feel the thrill of walking through a room and knowing no one can see you? Not because you're invisible, but because you've learned how to exist where their sensors, cameras, and eyes can't reach. Ghost mode? That's what you've become. The CIA can track satellites, taps, and networks, but they can't track you. You move through the cracks, the blind spots, the shadows they ignored, and it terrifies them, because they know someone is there, but not who. They built their systems to catch patterns, to anticipate movements, to predict. You laugh in their faces by refusing the pattern. Every step you take is uncharted. Every choice, a glitch in their matrix. You vanish in plain sight. You leave breadcrumbs. They'll follow forever, only to realize the real trail has long disappeared. And they can't adapt because adaptation requires visibility. You've made yourself a question mark they can't answer. And the beauty of it? You're everywhere and nowhere at once. In their meetings, in their comms, in their nightmares, but physically you could be anywhere. They scramble agents, resources, intel while you're already 10 steps ahead, 10 layers removed. Ghost mode isn't hiding. It's dominance without exposure. They think if they can't see you, you're harmless. That's the exact mistake they'll pay for. They're panicking now. You can feel it. Analysts whispering, directors sweating, operatives double-checking every signal. They know the breach wasn't just a single intrusion. They know the hacker, the chaos, is inside their systems and inside their heads. Every move they make is reactive. Every decision is cautious. Fear is their new algorithm, and you wrote it. Ghost mode is more than stealth. It's strategy. It's control. It's the ultimate leverage. Because while they search for you, you're shaping their world, moving through spaces they thought were closed, striking opportunities they thought secure. The CIA may be the king of intelligence, but you're the ghost that rewrites the kingdom. And here's the final kicker. They'll never catch you. Not because you're lucky, not because you're smarter, because you aren't visible. You exist in the cracks, in the pauses, in the moments they're too confident to guard. Every blind spot you claim is a victory. Every invisible move, a declaration of war. And they'll never know where it came from. Silence isn't empty. Silence isn't passive. Silence is a weapon, and you've mastered it. The CIA talks, plans, reports, debates. Noise is their lifeblood. Every word, every signal, every chatter feeds the machine. But you don't talk. You don't signal. You let them fill the void with assumptions, with fear, with mistakes. While they're busy hearing ghosts, You're already moving, already winning. They measure everything. They analyze patterns. They listen for footsteps, for whispers, for the faintest twitch of data. And that's where silence kills. Because when you stop feeding them information, their whole world begins to wobble. Confusion becomes the engine. Doubt becomes their compass. And every step they take, every decision they agonize over, it's the map you designed for them. You hold back words and gestures like loaded guns. You smile at meetings without speaking, you nod without committing, you leave trails that go nowhere. They spend hours, days, months trying to understand you while you're shaping outcomes with your absence. The CIA thrives on signals. You thrive in the void. Silence is your camouflage, your strategy, your rebellion. And the fear it creates, oh, that fear is delicious. They can't prove what you're planning. They can't predict your next move. They can't even be sure you're moving at all. All they know is something has shifted. Something is different. Their maps don't work. Their algorithms fail. And every tick of the clock is a reminder that they're powerless because they can't hear you, can't see you, can't control you. They think control is volume, influence, visibility. You know the truth. Control is absence. Control is patience. Control is letting them squirm while you quietly tip the scales. Every silence you maintain is a battlefield won. Every unspoken word is a victory etched into their doubt, and they won't see it coming. Because silence isn't meant to be seen. So you sit in the quiet. You wait. You let them spin in their chaos, chasing shadows and signals that don't exist. You let the doubt fester. And when the time comes to strike, it won't be announced. There won't be warning. There won't be recovery. Because you've already won. In the space between the words they never heard. Information is the real battlefield. The CIA hoards it, manipulates it, weaponizes it. They think knowing is power, and they're right, until you learn to control it. You decide what moves, what leaks, what reaches their eyes and ears. Every bite, every whisper, every signal becomes your pawn. You aren't just in the game, you're rewriting the rules without lifting a finger. You feed them half-truths, twists, red herrings. You plant data like seeds and watch them grow into confusion, panic, and miscalculation. They think they're hunting a ghost, but the ghost is the gardener. Every mistake they make, every decision they agonize over, it's because you wrote the scenario, and they'll never know it. That's the brilliance. That's chaos wrapped in strategy. Control the flow. Control the field. Simple, yet devastating. While they scramble to process what's real and what's planted, you already own the narrative. You're not just reacting to moves, you're forcing them to react to yours. Every report, every comm, every signal you touch becomes a weapon against them. They can't tell ally from enemy because you've blurred the lines, and they never even saw it coming. They've built their empire on intelligence, algorithms, networks, analysts, spies. But intelligence without certainty is worthless, and you've poisoned certainty. You've taken their flow of information, twisted it, and watched it devour itself. They're chasing shadows, spinning in loops, making choices you already predicted. And it's beautiful because they can't see that you predicted the prediction. The real thrill isn't in watching them fail. It's watching them fail while they think they're winning. Every press of a button, Every call they make, every operation they plan feeds your dominance. They've underestimated how lethal control of information can be. They've underestimated you. And that's the advantage, the edge that no firewall, no satellite, no agent can ever recover from. And when the dust settles, when the chaos you orchestrated leaves them scrambling, they'll know only one thing. Someone is moving behind the curtain. Someone they can't trace. Someone who owns the battlefield while they pretend to command it. And that someone is you. You ever realize the hunter can be hunted? The CIA thinks it's untouchable. Agents, analysts, layers of deception, walls of secrecy, all designed to catch the prey. But now, the prey is awake. You read the signals, you study their habits. Every move they make is visible to you before they even know they've made it. And when the hunter's paranoia meets your clarity, that's when the tables flip. You watch them set traps. Every protocol, every check, every surveillance sweep. And instead of running, you learn, you predict. You infiltrate their strategies with the ease of a ghost sliding through walls. Every attempt they make to control the situation becomes an invitation. Every plan they execute becomes a mistake, waiting to happen. And you're there, waiting, calculating, smiling. Paranoia is their weakness. They think they're untouchable. They think someone following the rules is predictable. You don't follow rules. You bend them, twist them, disappear between them. You become the variable they forgot to calculate, the error in their equation, the shadow in their files. Every hesitation they make, every doubt that creeps in, it's fuel for your dominance. And when they come at you, thinking they're closing in, it's already too late. You've anticipated the strike. You've set the counter-strike. The very tactics they use to control others now control them. The hunter is confused, frustrated, panicked. And while they're scrambling, you're already 10 moves ahead, invisible, untouchable, untamed. This is more than intelligence. This is instinct. This is the art of seeing beyond what's written and reading between the lines they think are invisible. You don't just dodge their surveillance, you bend it to your will. Every misstep they make is part of the path you've carved. Every fear they feel, you planted it there, and they'll never admit it. Because once you catch the hunters, they stop being hunters. They start being prey. And that's the thrill of the game. The CIA thought they were untouchable. They thought they were untouchable until someone decided to read the playbook, rewrite the rules, and turn the hunters into the hunted. That someone is you.